What's going on, guys? Anthony Predicts here. So today I have a new election video for you, and it's going to be a 2020 Senate election prediction video. I haven't done this since December, and I was kind of contemplating whether or not to do it because I feel like a lot of times it's the same map. But now I feel like there are some differences, so I feel like now is a good time to actually do the video. So here I'm going to get into it. I'm going to start from the left and go right, but before I do, remember, please like the video, please subscribe, tap the bell icon so you get notified whenever I make a new video. Really appreciate it, and let's get on to it. So Democrats in Oregon, I think Democrats will win Oregon, probably a safe margin. Idaho and Wyoming will both be safe. Montana, we're going to come back to. South Dakota, Nebraska, I think will be safe. Kansas, I think even if Chris Kobach's a nominee, I'd still put it in safe for now. I think they're trying to find probably a better candidate than him, but I would still have no problem putting it safe right now. Oklahoma, I'd put in safe. New Mexico, I'd probably put in safe for right now. Alaska, I'd give Republicans in the safe column. Texas, we'll come back to. Louisiana, Bill Cassidy, he'll win there. Tom Cotton in Arkansas, he'll win by a safe margin. Mississippi, I think Mississippi will probably be a safe margin, but I really don't see it being too close. I know Cindy Hyde-Smith isn't the best candidate and isn't the most popular candidate, but still, I mean, there aren't many people, especially many Democrats, think Mississippi's going to flip. Alabama, we're going to come back to in a second. Tennessee and South Carolina are both safe. West Virginia, I think, is safe. Kentucky, I think I'm going to come back to because I want to talk a little bit more about that one. Illinois will go to Dick Durbin. Delaware will be safe. New Jersey will be safe. Rhode Island will be safe. Massachusetts, the Ed Markey versus Joe Kennedy primary is going to be interesting, but that's going to be a safe seat no matter what. And the rest of the seats I'm going to come back to. Okay, so we know Democrats will get at least 42, and Republicans will get at least 43. This is a call I don't think I've done before yet. I'm going to put Alabama in the safe column. Doug Jones has pretty much already come out and said he's not going to vote for, he's going to vote for impeachment against President Trump. And when you're trying to win in a Republican state as a Democratic senator who barely won last time because there was literally the worst candidate that could have ever possibly run, got the primary nomination for the GOP, not only is Doug Jones not going to win, but he's running against either Jeff Sessions or Tommy Tuberville. He's probably going to get crushed. So I expect Alabama will go for either probably Jeff Sessions, I'd probably bet at this point. Tommy Tuberville could pull an upset, but I think probably Jeff Sessions will win there. The state of Virginia right now, I think I'm going to put Virginia in the likely column. I think all this Second Amendment stuff going on with the governor trying to take away people's right to have a gun, or that's the way it's being perceived anyway, that's definitely going to hurt the Democrats out, and it's going to drive a lot of Republicans out, and maybe even some moderate Democrats who still vote Democrat will probably come out and vote Republican. However, I still think the Senate race will probably go for likely Democrat because Mark Warner, he is more moderate of the than Tim Kaine than most of the statewide Democrats. He's not really under that whole Second Amendment thing going on like Ralph Northam is. So Virginia, I'd put in the likely column. Kentucky, I'm going to put in the likely column for Mitch McConnell. We're starting to see this in a lot of Senate races. The map's becoming so polarized. It's basically in national politics every time. I don't think we're going to be seeing Alabama going blue again. And I think we won't see Kentucky going blue either. I think Mitch McConnell, while he is one of the most unpopular senators, I think based off the things he's been able to do this year and him defending President Trump throughout this impeachment thing, I think that's going to help a lot of Republicans come out and vote for him in Kentucky. And I think he'll probably end up winning there by a likely margin. The state of Texas, I don't see Texas getting too close unless possibly it's one of the Castro brothers, Julian or Joaquin, runs. Even if it's Beto O'Rourke against John Cornyn, I think that ship is kind of sailed. So I think that John Cornyn will win in Texas by a likely margin. The state of Montana, I'd put in the likely margin for now. This race all depends on whether or not Steve Bullock runs. He's said several times he's not going to. If he does run, I'd probably at this moment put it in a tilt Republican column. I think Steve Bullock could definitely make it close. I still think Republicans are slightly favored in this election for Montana, though. We'll go on to the state of Georgia. Georgia's interesting because it has two Senate races up, a special election and the regular election for David Perdue. So the David Perdue one, I'm actually going to put in the likely column for now. I think David Perdue, very popular, is going to win re-election pretty easily. And John Ossoff, for some reason, is running against David Perdue and not for the open seat, which I don't get at all. Like, if John Ossoff really wants to win, he really should run for the special election. That would make more sense. Plus, the special election is really interesting because Congressman Doug Collins, who was Trump's favorite to get that seat, was not appointed, and Governor Brian Kemp appointed. Oh, I can't think of her name, but he appointed someone who's more of a moderate Republican and more Romney-style Republican, and that's angered a lot of Trump voters in Georgia and kind of angered President Trump himself. So there's a possibility there might be a primary challenge there as well, which would be a really interesting development. So right now, I think just based off the competition edge, I'd put the special election in the lean seat for now, in the lean column. But keep an eye on Georgia and Georgia's second election because that could really be an interesting thing to see what happens. The state of Minnesota for now, I'd put Minnesota in the likely column. I think that Jason Lewis is probably one of the better Republican candidates that they could run. However, I think that Tina Smith probably has a hold on this race right now. I'd say she'd probably win. President Trump, if he wins the state of Minnesota, which right now I haven't really seen that he could do that yet, he hasn't put in as much effort as a lot of people thought he would a few months ago. If he puts in a ton of effort, I could see Minnesota maybe going to him and maybe Republicans winning, but I don't see it right now. So I think Minnesota would go for Tina Smith. And I think next we're going to go to the state of Iowa. Iowa for now, I'm going to put this in the likely column for Joni Ernst. I know Joni Ernst's popularity has fallen a little bit, but I think the passing of the USMCA and the first stages of the China trade deal at this moment, I think that's very, very good for her and very good for President Trump in the state of Iowa. So I think both President Trump and Joni Ernst will win the state of Iowa. I would say the likely margin is interesting because I think it will be a likely margin, but like by a point or two. Like it's probably closer to lean than it is to safe in the likely column, if you know what I mean. Like it's probably like what 6 points, maybe 5-6 points, not like 7 or 8 like President Trump won last time. It's probably like 6 points, I'd say. So likely column in Iowa for Joni Ernst. Republicans have 50, so if President Trump wins re-election, the Republicans will hold the majority. If he doesn't, then technically this could be a 50-50 tie, and the next president will break the tie, but we still have some seats left. Right now, the state of New Hampshire, I would put it in the lean column for now. Cory Lewandowski said he's not running, so now the state GOP is actually, from everything that he's seen, is kind of more relieved that he's not running. Because Cory Lewandowski has the name ID, but a lot of state GOP in New Hampshire are worried that that would make it a full Trump-style race, and they'd worry a lot of moderate Democrats or moderate Republicans wouldn't vote for Cory Lewandowski. So now the state GOP is trying to find who could run instead, and some of their top candidates are Don Bolduc, a former U.S. general, Bill O'Brien, I believe is his name. I think he was a state congressman that I think Ted Cruz endorsed in New Hampshire, actually. And there's another guy whose name is, I think, Bryant Corky Mesner, who's also running. So there's some GOP candidates running now, but there isn't really that big national attention-seeking GOP candidate in New Hampshire, which is why I know a lot of people are potentially asking if Kelly Ayotte or Scott Brown maybe might come back to run for New Hampshire. Both of them right now, I would say I'd put money on both of them not running. I think it's probably going to be one of the three, probably either Bill O'Brien or Don Bolduc would be my guess. But if Scott Brown or Kelly Ayotte does decide to run, I think this race instantly becomes a toss-up. But right now, I put it in the lean Democratic column, and it's pretty much interesting to see. Because Jeanne Shaheen is really popular still in the state of New Hampshire, so it'll be interesting to see what happens on the GOP side. But I think for now, given her incumbency and her time in the Senate and prevalence in the state of New Hampshire, Jeanne Shaheen starts out as a favorite to win her seat. The state of Michigan, I would put Michigan for now in the lean column, kind of in the same category as New Hampshire. John James, I think, is probably the best Republican that you can run in Michigan against Gary Peters. But Gary Peters, his biggest problem is that he isn't really well known. But then again, he's also not really unpopular either. Like, in most of his approval polls, he's either narrowly popular or it's like basically a 50-50 split. But he's not underwater. Like, he's not super unpopular like a lot of other senators. Like, if Mitch McConnell, for instance, was from Michigan, he would probably lose that race by a really big margin given his unpopularity rating. But since he's in such a safe Republican state, he'll probably win. Gary Peters doesn't really have that problem. Michigan's a swing state. It'll probably trend a little more to Republicans based off the rural voters who didn't vote for Trump last time that might come out to vote this time. But I think Gary Peters right now is still an early favorite to win the state of Michigan. The state of Maine, Susan Collins. I'm staying strong on this one. I think Susan Collins will win Maine, maybe by a likely to lean margin. I'm going to say for now a lean margin. Actually, no, I'm going to say likely. Susan Collins is not going to be. I don't see her losing. I really don't. I know the Democrats are going to put a ton of money in that seat, but the fact is, they tried to make the Kavanaugh vote the only issue and say she's not a moderate. She has literally been moderate on every single issue ever since she's been in the Senate. She even says we should have a trial in the Senate to impeach President Trump. We should have witnesses. We should have an actual trial, and we shouldn't bypass it. That literally goes against almost every single what Republican senators want. If that's not moderate in the state of Maine, I don't know what is. And the Democrats trying to make it seem like she's a Trump Republican puppet is just not true. It's an absolute lie, and it's not going to hurt her on election day. I think Susan Collins ends up winning Maine by a lean to likely margin. The state of Colorado, Cory Gardner versus John Hickenlooper. Interesting race. Lot to happen. I would see Cory Gardner narrowly losing, probably in the lean margin to John Hickenlooper. John Hickenlooper, whenever he runs, they're always close races. He narrowly pulls out wins, but he is a popular guy. He's a popular governor. And I would probably see something interesting going on with that. I didn't actually know this, but apparently John Hickenlooper is under investigation. And that could definitely maybe make the race a lot closer. But I still think he would probably narrowly beat Cory Gardner. Probably, I think, by 3 to 4 points. I don't think it's going to be a super big blowout. President Trump lost Colorado by 5 or 6 points. He didn't campaign there at all, put a lot of effort in. And I think Cory Gardner is better at winning more moderate voters and Hispanic voters than President Trump is. Especially suburban women is a big category that Cory Gardner will win better than President Trump. But for now, I'd still put Cory Gardner as a narrow favorite to lose his race. So I would give the Democrats John Hickenlooper the edge in that race. North Carolina and Arizona, these are the two I think it's going to come down to. These are the two I think could really both go either way. North Carolina for now, Tom Tillis, I'm going to narrowly put that in the tilt column. I think the Democrat candidates right now, especially Cal Cunningham, really isn't catching fire among the national media attention that a lot of Democrats probably hoped she would or he would. I don't even know if it's a he or she, that's bad. Yeah, it's not really catching fire. Also, I feel like Tom Tillis, when Garland Tucker, their GOP challenger, dropping out, probably helps them. But that could be President Trump trying to pull what he did with Dean Heller back in 2018, where he had Tarkanian drop out of his primary challenge and instead run for House or run for something else. That way that it'll make the senator seem less vulnerable. But Tom Tillis is vulnerable. I still think that Tom Tillis will win re-election by probably 1 to 2 points. And then probably I would say the North Carolina governor, I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, it's okay. But the North Carolina Democrat governor will win re-election probably by a little bigger margin than Tom Tillis does. I think we'll see a split ticket on that regard. And it comes down to Arizona. Arizona, honestly, I feel like I go back and forth in Arizona every single video. Mark Kelly, he's polling very well, but then again, he's not really as moderate as Kyrsten Sinema is. He's very anti-Second Amendment on a lot of things, pro-gun control, which is not good for the state of Arizona. However, that being said, Martha McSally is not really too popular. She lost last time, then they appointed her to the seat anyway. But then that video came out a few days ago of her calling a CNN, quote, a liberal hack or something like that. And I feel like that's gonna make a lot of Trump voters who maybe don't like her too much probably like her a little bit more. So Arizona can really go either way. But honestly, for now, I'm going to put Arizona back in the tilt. That's New Mexico. You didn't see that. I'm going to put Arizona back in the tilt Republican column for now. Narrowly giving Martha McSally an edge by winning probably under 1 to 2 points. I think this election is going to be called probably within a day or two of the election, but I don't think it's going to actually be called on election night. I think it's going to be really close. So for the month of January 2020, this is my election prediction. I think Republicans will hold the majority with 53 seats. Democrats will have 47 seats. This is the current composition now. Same 53-47. Republicans win Alabama. However, they lose Colorado. So that's kind of a 1-2 flip there. And right now, I'd say keep an eye on the states of Arizona and North Carolina to see what happens. So yeah, that's the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. Tap the bell icon to always get notified. And make sure you keep updated to see when new videos of mine are coming out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.